Hello everyone, I welcome you all to part 3 of the solid state. Okay, in the previous video we were discussing the differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids, and the last point we discussed was the nature of the solids, that is anisotropic and isotropic solids, the difference between them. Okay, before moving any further, I would like to add a little bit of more information on what we saw were the pseudo-solids. I said that pseudo-solids are those amorphous solids. Amorphous solids are pseudo-solids, which means their properties will depend on the external factors, just like temperature, pressure. If the temperature changes, the property of that solid is going to change. That is the meaning of pseudo-solid. Pseudo means false. This is what I had explained in my last video, right? So just to add little more on that, pseudo-solids or the amorphous solids can be melted and blown, etc., into various shapes because they become soft over a range of temperatures. So can you imagine a plastic chair or anything made up of plastic? Plastic is an example of a pseudo-solid or an amorphous pseudo-solid. Okay, so when we heat them at a certain temperature, they become crystalline and they change their properties. Okay, as well as they can be heated, heated and molded into different shapes. So this is one basic reason why a few glass objects from ancient civilization, they are found to become milky in appearance. Why? Because they become crystalline due to irregular heating and cooling. Now when does this irregular heating and cooling takes place? In the day and night. Okay, in the daytime it is hot and in the night time it is cold. So because of this difference in temperatures over a long period of time, they change their property and their appearance becomes very milky. Okay, this is one point about pseudo-solids. The second point is just like liquids, amorphous solids have a property to flow very slowly. They can flow. Okay, hence they are called as pseudo-solids or even supercooled liquids. Okay, so an example for the flowing property of supercooled liquids, can you try to recollect it? I'm sure you have studied that in class 10th. Okay, in class 10th you had the example of ancient glass window panes. Why are they thicker at the bottom and thinner at the top? And the reason was, what was the reason for that? I'm sure you know that. You go back, read it and send me the answers. Either you can comment here or you can comment on WhatsApp. Okay, what was the reason for the glass panes of the doors or windows of old buildings which are found to be slightly thicker at the bottom than at the top? Okay, I want the reason for this. This is related to the pseudo-solid property of amorphous solids. Okay, so find out the reason. So that's all about pseudo-solids, the 2 points which I was supposed to tell you. Okay, now we will move on with the differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. So the 7th point about the differences between crystalline and amorphous solids are the uses of that. Okay, calcite crystal is used in making optical instruments such as a prism. That is the example cum use of crystalline solids. Whereas amorphous silicon is used as a photovoltaic cell for the conversion of sunlight into electricity. So photovoltaic cell is basically, photo means light, voltaic is related to volts, that is electricity. So conversion of light to electricity, for this purpose amorphous silicon is used. Okay, the 8th point is the examples. Example of crystalline solids are copper, silver, iron, sulfur, sodium chloride. Yes, your table salt, your common salt is crystalline in nature. Okay, so and also gemstones, they are. And as you, if you apply your mind a bit, it is obvious that all these, like if you have seen copper, right? If you have seen any copper vessel or silver, iron, all these things are really hard in nature, and they are the particles in them are very closely packed. So hence you can obviously kind of tell that they are crystalline solids. Whereas examples of amorphous solids are glass, rubber, plastic, polymers, wax, etc. All those solids who we earlier mentioned that they exhibit your pseudo-solid property. Okay, that is they can be molded, they can be made into any shape whichever you want by the application of heat. If you heat them, it will melt and it will take the shape of the container or mold, whichever you put it in. Okay, so hence the examples of amorphous solids are pretty simple to remember. Okay, next property is another important point, that is the cleavage property. Now cleavage property means when you cut it into two pieces, when you cut a particular solid into two pieces, how sharp or how fine are the two pieces going to be after cutting. Okay, so on cutting with a sharp edged tool, they split into two pieces and the new surfaces are smooth in the case of your crystalline solids. So the new surfaces, if they are smooth, it is a crystalline solid. If the new surfaces are rough, it is an amorphous solids. They do not necessarily give, they might give in some cases, but they do not necessarily give smooth surfaces with sharp edges. Okay, again you can consider the example of chalk and marble in this case. Both are calcium carbonate, as I mentioned in the earlier video, but both differ in the with respect to the order of arrangement. So if you cut marble, of course it requires special tools to cut marble, but if you cut it, it will give you smooth edges. Okay, compared to chalk. Chalk you can easily break. Will it give smooth edges? No, it does not give smooth edges. The edges are rough. So this is called as the cleavage property. The cleavage property is good in crystalline solids and it is bad in amorphous solids. Now going on to the next point.